Today, I would like to talk about web hosting services because this is one of the things that you'll need at the tail end of any web application project development. This is the stage where you normally push your project live to the production, where your customers or the world can be able to access your web application and get the services that you intended to offer using this web application. Now, I have realized that this is also one of the questions that I normally get frequently from most of my followers and supporters, I can say. Sometimes they normally ask questions, and especially the young guys who are now venturing in this field of IT. You normally ask me some question and I sometimes nasikia tu kucheka tu kidogo because they sound so crazy because I can say when you lack experience or you lack information unaweza uliza kaswali alafu unashindwa ni aje. So I will be able to explain more about web hosting services, the available web hosting services that we have, various companies, and also maybe some factors that you need to consider when choosing one of these web hosting services. So as someone who would like to venture in this field, maybe as a developer or maybe you want to become an investor, you can be well informed on how these web hosting services normally work. Now, I have also realized that most of the graduates, they end up graduating without knowing how to deploy your applications, which is one of the skills that you need here out in the job market. And without this skill, I can tell you for sure, even if you are a good developer, it might be difficult for you to get a job. So this is something that you need to learn, and you have to understand the basic, like the ones that I'm sharing right now on this video. So make sure you watch this video until the end, and also you make sure you like. Also, remember to subscribe and also to follow us on various social media platforms because this is one of the channels that I normally offer tech related content. Now, let's jump right away to list some of the companies that normally offer this service, like locally here in Kenya. And there is one company which I've used for quite some years, and which I normally feel it's one of the favorite company to use as a hosting company here in Kenya based on the Kenyan economy. So TrueHost is a company that I've used for quite some times. I think back from either 2016, 2017, somewhere there. So have hosted quite a good number of websites through this company for various clients who have been able to serve for over the years. And it is quite a good thing. They offer good services, but sometimes there are scenarios where I can tell you I might not choose them based on various factors which I will share. Although sometimes nikisema hivyo hapa kwa internet watu wananipelekanga mbio, wanasema oh sijui you are marketing these guys, they have these services blah blah blah. You complain a lot, and sometimes you end up maybe you are complaining and you are the one who is not well informed. Maybe umenunua hosting kidogo and you expect it to serve an application which has got a higher traffic. That one is not going to work. So there are some scenario where I can tell you for sure maybe you'll expect the web hosting companies maybe sometimes to be down. It's normal to any business. Or sometimes it might be a challenge in your side where you find that whatever you're doing, or maybe you are not well informed on what you are trying to do with that hosting that you bought. So TrueHost is one of the things that I can recommend, and you can check on the description. I will share the link, which is my affiliate link. So in case maybe you'd like to buy, you can consider that one. So I'll explain much on that one. But also we have got other companies like Kenya Web Expert. We have got East Coast Pinnacles. I've also used Safaricom among all those other the ones that I've mentioned, like Sasa Hosts, and I don't know, Shuja Host, and so forth. So sometimes a client might buy the hosting and they approach me, then I will interact with those kind of hosting services, and I can tell you for sure the challenges that you normally encounter is not far from each company. So it might be you're facing this one on this company, when you go to the other company it might not be far from that. So that is quite a challenge that you will always expect to face. When we go to the global market, you will expect to meet other giants. Like for example, we have got AWS, we have got Microsoft, we have got also Hostinga, GoDaddy. Those are various companies which offer these services. And If you feel like you're capable of getting services from these companies, then there is no problem. Inategemea na mfuko yako. So whatever you need, you'll get it. So those are some of the companies that offer those services, and they normally offer different kind of services. Like for example, I normally categorize these web hosting as 4 categories. Like there is a scenario where you find that the company would like to host their systems locally within their premises. So it means they will buy the server, which is might, like for a medium kind of a company or business, it might be costing something. A server can cost maybe around over 100,000 Kenyan shillings, because you need a server which has got a good RAM, and it's using the latest technology of the storage devices like SSD. Or if you're using hard disk, sometimes you need to expect that hard disk wanga zinakufa sana when it comes to a server hard disk, because it is supposed to be up and running all the time. Then another challenge, because hosting it by yourself sometimes is always very, very expensive. So apart from buying the server at that amount, you also need to have power supply which is continuous. Like for example, you cannot rely on Kenya Power so that you can get power continuously. You know what happens. So it means you'll need a generator or maybe a solar, some batteries, things like those ones for UPS, for backup purpose, something like that. And in such a scenario, if you need a good UPS, then also you have to part with the same amount of money of 100,000 Kenyan shillings, or maybe 200,000 Kenyan shillings for that matter. So it's very, very expensive. And also you'll need the generator, things like those ones. Then we have got also the internet connection, because a server cannot afford to go down when it doesn't have power, and also when there is a problem with the internet connection. Then it means your client will not be able to access your web application. So for that matter, apart from power, you also need a good internet connection. And I can say you will not need only one internet service provider. You will need quite a good number of internet service provider for that matter, for the sake of what we refer to as load balancing, and also something else like to do with sometimes there's a backup option, because if one line goes down, then you expect the other ISP maybe to be able to provide you with internet connection. So those are some of the things that you need to note if you want to come up with your own web server where you can host your web application within your premises. That is the first option, which is very, very expensive. I cannot recommend it to anyone. And also you need a guy who will be doing the maintenance, because if you don't have an expert who can do that, then it means sometimes you might be having some challenges and face quite difficulties when you're serving your clients. Now, the other one we normally have, like for most of these hosting companies, like for example, if it is TrueHost, you normally find there is what we refer to as the shared host. Shared host, they normally come up with the packages. Like for example, they can come up with features like we'll give you this number of GB for storage, bandwidth, RAM will allocate you this, whatever, something like that. So for the shared host, shared hosting is, what happens is that you have like it works like how you normally see the food courts. Food courts is where you find that people will come. I will offer them the space with the kitchen and so forth. Then they will also be able to serve the customers. So the vendors, tuseme ni watu wamekuja together, like wapishi, something like that, chef, they can come alafu waanza kupika wakiuza products au whichever, but they are using the same resources. Like for example, the kitchen, it's common, area ya kuserve customers is common the same way. So with this shared hosting, it acts the same way. So you just create an account and they allocate you a space where you find that now you can, it's like you are sharing the hard disk. A portion of the hard disk is allocated to you. The RAM, because it cannot be shared, you'll find that the RAM mna share ile time clients wanna access your system, they are sharing the RAM. We have got internet connection, so it's like one machine which has been allocated to different users. That is the concept. That is what we refer to as shared hosting. Now we have got the other package that they normally come up with. It's called VPS. So far I've mentioned a scenario where you can host it by yourself. Then we have got the shared hosting. Now we have got the VPS. VPS stands for virtual private servers. And virtual private servers is where you find that I can come up with one machine. It works like a mall. So how mall works is where you find that you can partition the room into rooms, where you find that these rooms now you can rent them to specific people. So it's like a one standalone machine where you find that this machine can be used to create other virtual machines, which now you can allocate resources and things to the clients who normally come or maybe buy your service. Then the other one is what we refer to as the cloud. And cloud is a scenario where you find that it's like now we have got something like different storage from different regions. Like assuming if we have got servers from for Amazon which are either in Europe, we have got others in Africa, we have got something like that. So you'll find that these servers are well connected in a way that when serving their customers, they can adjust. Like for example, if I need more resources, like for example, if my web application knows a certain product and maybe I'm giving an offer, kama Shikuwai style something like that, you'll find that maybe the kind of server that I'm hosting, when I have got higher traffic, the storage that I have is not limited, or maybe the resources which have been allocated is not limited. The system can stretch, although now you normally get in return a higher billing, something like that. So that's how cloud services normally work in most cases, and that is the intention of being able to do that. So assuming like kuna warehouse maybe in Nairobi, Mombasa, something like that, so this warehouse can be able to, in case maybe you have a customer akona vitu mingi, si ati unawambia sisi tunakuanga na warehouse Mombasa peke yake, no. You can tell them now, apart from storing them here, we have got others maybe in Malindi, something like that, and as a transfer and so forth. When in demand, there is a higher demand, they can be able to, you can be able to serve those customers. So those are the 4 different types of hosting services that you'll always get in the industry, where you can either host by yourself, which is very, very expensive. 2, there is shared hosting. 3, which is now the VPS. And 4 is what we refer to as cloud. You need to know that hosting by yourself is very, very expensive, and also cloud is also very, very expensive. Now, what makes them expensive? These are some of the factors that you'll need to consider. If you need to get a good performance of the web hosting services, where you find that your website is always up and there is no like, it is not lagging, it's not loading very slow, then it means you can consider having a cloud service. It's one of the best, because the good thing about cloud is that you don't care about when you're getting these services from other hosting companies, you don't care about the failure of resources like hardwares like hard disk or internet connection, power, and all those that. So the web hosting companies normally take care of that. Unlike when you're hosting them in your premises, you have to consider all those other things. Now, you need to know that performance is very, very key to any web application. And the reason why I say performance is one of the things that you need to consider, apart because with poor performance, your web application might be discouraging your customers from accessing your services. Like for example, if it is an e-commerce, it might be difficult for you to serve your customers. So in this case, how to consider having a good web hosting company which has got a good performance. But also, sometimes you also consider what we refer to as the market that you are serving, because kama biashara za Kenya, kama ndio unaanza, would you consider going for a cloud? Because you'll pay more, or maybe you consider maybe buying a server for that matter kwa client kwa customers ujaona wenye unataka kuserve. It doesn't make sense. So that's why I normally recommend something like TrueHost, because most of the businesses that you normally find that unaundia systems, ni kabiashara kanaanza, maybe it is on the starting level, maybe towards medium level of the business, something like that. So in this case, hawana ile high traffic within their website. So in that case, you don't need something which bora tu like the web application is ensured iko up all the time, then just recommend starting with a shared hosting. Then the moment your business grows, umeanza kupata clients, Now you can consider, because one thing about shared hosting inalipiangwa on a yearly basis, like unalipia mwaka moja, something like that. But now when it comes to VPS and cloud unakwanga build when on demand, something like that. Like at the end of the month you'll get that bill for that. When it comes to VPS unalipianga also every month, so you'll find that maybe unaweza lipia kitu kama 2000 5000, of which if it is a shared hosts for a small business, maybe a website which doesn't have a high traffic of like around 1000 people within your website in a month, then just a website which a hosting which you'll pay around 2500 or 3000, then you'll be good to go. It can serve you very well, so it doesn't have any problem. So I can say sometimes it's good to consider the kind of market of the clients, or maybe what we refer to as the traffic to your website. That's what I mean, because higher traffic will need a higher performance web hosting company. And again, a higher performance, it means you will expect to pay more, and there is no problem with paying more so long as you can be able to make that money. So that's what I mean by that. So for a starting company, I would recommend you can start with the shared hosting. Then as you grow with the company, like you can grow with your customers wako wakiongezeka, you can go to VPS. Now from VPS you can go to cloud hosting, and you'll be good to go. So the last thing that I normally consider is what we refer to as the customer care. It's actually one of the most important things, because sometimes you might buy a hosting from a specific customer, and at the end of the, not customer, as a web hosting company, then you find it very, very difficult for you to communicate, or maybe when you have a challenge you cannot be able to reach out to these people. Wanakwambia tu email peke yake bas, or maybe create a ticket, something like that. So the beauty of Truehost is that you can reach out to them anytime, although sometimes kuna kuanga na mnushki hapa na pale. So that's why I normally recommend them, because of I normally get that communication frequently. And sometimes ukikuwa an affiliate, you'll get a good money out of it. So it's good as a web developer also to consider becoming an affiliate, such that ukinunulia client kutoka kwa hiyo, at the end of the day, the more you have more clients, the more wanalipia services. Like you can imagine if you are an affiliate of a specific company, like maybe it's AWS and something like that, and a company in a bill around over 100,000, and you're getting 10% commission, then you'll find that you're good to go. You can make a good money out of it. So customer care is one of the other things that I consider. And lastly, the mode of payment, how I make my payment. Like for most clients, like here in Kenya, you realize that we normally use M-Pesa, so it's preferably most of the web hosting companies here in Kenya, they will also have the Lipa na M-Pesa payment gateway, which is one of the best you can use and easier. Unlike the rest, you'll need to have maybe credit card yenye utatumia maybe to make those payment for that, which is set aside to do that. So I hope you have learned something, although the video might have been very long, but I know you're going to give it thumbs up, like, share. Remember to subscribe also to our YouTube channel for more tech videos like these ones, and follow us on the TikTok here. So thank you, and see you on the next one.